The update is he's day-to-day still. I know that he had a doctor's appointment today, so I'm waiting to hear from the doctor, from Vance, and our trainer. We'll just go from there. I don't know if he'll be able to play tomorrow, but he is day-to-day, so he could, he may not be available today, but he could be available tomorrow, so we'll just wait and see.
Not even just from an offensive production standpoint, but how much do you miss him whenever he's not available to play from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, he's a lead by example guy, and the skill set's the skill set. So, you're not going to just grab a Vance Honeycutt out of your dugout. It just doesn't happen. You don't get a coach mini Vance Honeycutt. So, him being an elite center fielder, he changes games defensively, but he also has the speed offensively and the power. So you just hope that you can get somebody in there defensively where you don't suffer too much. The bat's the bat. That's hard to replace.
How do you flush last week and move forward to the ACC tournament?
You just do it. I mean, we talk about it all the time. The season's long. At the end of the day, when the regular season finishes, no matter how you finish, the regular season's over. So if you finish and you won your last 10 out of 12, great, but it's a new season. Everybody's 0-0 starting now, and that's what the great thing is about the postseason.
When did Vance get hurt?
It aggravated itself a little bit on Friday against NC State, and then I noticed it, when he was running the bases and how he was moving pretty gingerly at the end of the game on Saturday. So we were hoping, Sunday, Monday, maybe even missing Coastal would help him, but it just hasn't healed yet.
And all the suspensions are over.
They're over, finally. That's 26 players over 5 or 6 games. But we dealt with it, and that included the NC State series. Obviously, we didn't suspend many for that series. We felt like that was a really big series for us, as all of them are. But, most of the suspensions were between Coastal and Clemson.
Scott, State was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
So was Thursday I know it gets weird with, was Thursday the day Vance hurt himself against NC State, or was it?
It's been nagging a little bit. And Vance, one thing about Vance is he plays.
He hadn't missed a start, right?
He hadn't missed a start.
Yeah.
So when Vance is struggling, moving physically, that it's bothering him. So my job is to protect our players and make sure they don't get worse. So we talked to Vance the next day. He went to see the doctor and Terry Joe, and it's just been better right now because sometimes the only healer is rest, and that's where we are as of today.
So is that something you noticed during one of those games against the Wolfpack?
Yeah, you get treatment when you're banged up a little bit, like all players do. But I could just tell that he was moving. Something was bothering him. When he got over to third base, and we talked about it, finished the game, and then talked to him. Let's see, that was a Saturday. The guys had an off day on Sunday, and he let me know Sunday night that it had got much better. So we called Terry Joe, just got him in with the doctors. And, the good thing is he is getting better, and the question just becomes, when can he go? Vance needs to be to go for the most part close to 100% because he's such a speed guy and a fast twitch guy.
But Mac in center field has all the skills to do that. I mean, he'd be starting he could start for a lot of teams in center field.
Yeah, he could. And so could Carter French, a true freshman that's a really good defender, can play an elite center field. But Vance is the best center fielder in the country. Mac is mighty good as well, played it in the Cape. But, having Vance in center does allow us to move Mac back on the dirt if we want to give us more range and more athleticism. Johnny's filled in great, but it is what it is from that standpoint. But Mac can fill in fine.
And have you decided on starters for the 2 games?
For sure, Carlson will start against NC State. I'm sorry, not NC State.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I was thinking about the ACC tournament last year, so don't show that one.
How did that turn out last year?
Turned out good. That's probably why it was on my mind. Because you know why that was on my mind? Because we watched a ton of video with Max just showing him his delivery today last year in the ACC tournament, making sure he's getting his arm up and stuff like that. But he'll start against Georgia Tech, and most likely Knapp will start against Virginia.
This time last week, you were coming off a win against ECU and a sweep of NC State.
Yep.
Now you're coming off the loss to Coastal and a sweep that you lost to Clemson. I mean, is it, here the season starts in March or February? Yeah. Are you still sort of not sure what you're going to get out of this group from weekend to weekend?
No, I feel like we played hard. We just got beat at Coastal, and Now we did play at Coastal. Now we might have lost anyway, and our guys that filled in played well, but we didn't have 4 of our starters. And then at Clemson, they're hot. They played extremely well. They beat us pretty good on Thursday, but the other 2 games I thought could have gone
Close
either
games,
way. But at the end of the day, if you look at it, you look at ECU, you look at NC State, you look at Coastal, and you look at Clemson. The way I look at it is, you went 500 in those games, and it's not like you lost your last 12. So we still feel good about our guys, and we talk all the time about being process oriented. So you have to really buy into that, because it's easy to feel great when things are going great. But when you have a sweep like Clemson, you just move on from it as fast as you can. Luckily for us, the tournament's close by, and we can do everything here and sleep in our own business.
And Patty's really come through with some big hits since he came back.
Yeah, definitely. We're lucky to have him back. I didn't know if he would be back that soon, to be honest with you. But he's a tough kid. It's still a little bit painful when you come off that hamate, especially when you swing and miss. But he's a lot like Mikey Madej. He really fills a void for us in our lineup, a guy that moves the ball, doesn't strike out much, a good base runner, and a leader on the field. So he helps us stabilize the lineup, especially without Vance.
What were you wanting Mac to see when you're showing him the video you're talking about today, I guess? And is that something that's been missing? Here and there?
You're always, from the pitching side, you want to make sure if there's anything mechanically that you show it to the kid on video, so they have to make the adjustment themselves, because they have to feel it. But with Carly, when his arm drops, the ball just flattens out, and his changeup's not as good either, and his slot's right here at the top. So just staying tight and getting down angle is important for him. So just him being able to see that. And you also want kids to watch themselves when they're throwing really well, and they see what their mound presence is like and see how they're attacking hitters. I think that's important.
So when he's coming over the top,
he's not an over top guy, but just the ball has more angle. The velocity can be the same, but if the ball doesn't have the angle, the ball's going to flatten out. Went through it, when I was a pitching coach here with Alex White. He was getting hit really hard at the end of his freshman year, and his slot had just dropped tremendously. The velocity was still good, but the slot had dropped so much we had to get him back up on top.
Did he turn out okay?
He turned out pretty dang good. Golly. How many Alex Whites?
Right. I saw him close out a super regional here one day. That was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Is the Bovair, is that experiment with him starting sort of over? Like, are you going to send him back to the bullpen? And
I think we're at the point of the season now where that first game, whenever it is vital. Because it's going to be the first game in the ACC tournament. It's going to be the first game in a regional. If you're fortunate to get to a super regional, the first game in a super regional, if you're fortunate to get to Omaha, that first game, and that's big for momentum. And Bovair has so much experience. He has the most experience out of all of the guys that have started in the bullpen. He's been good out of the bullpen.
Right.
So he could still start, but we do like having him as another weapon in our bullpen.
And Jake and Max, your strategy against State was to really challenge them.
Yeah.
And the strategy wasn't the same against Clemson. It was a different story of how you battled them and the contrasting in the way those starts went.
Yeah, totally different lineups. And there is a time, you saw it with our team last year, where you're just rolling, and your lineup's confident 1 through 9, and I see that in Clemson right now. So you try to equalize that, with good pitching performances, and I thought Knapp was pretty good. Gave us a chance to win. Carlson just could not locate the fastball down in the zone. And when you play a really hot team, and he did that against NC State, and they have left-handed hitters, they're going to make you pay.
Do you dust off your special postseason speeches now? Since you gave so many good ones last year, apparently.
I guess I need to.
Have you been going into the scrapbook?
The big thing with us, and it's been that way since I've been here, even as an assistant coach, is understanding that every day's a new day, and if you ride the emotions and you get too high or you get too low, especially when you come to postseason, you can have a hard time, because you're probably gonna get swept somewhere. You may finish great, you may not finish great, but as soon as the regular season's over. Either way, no matter how you finish, right. And you start a new season when you start the ACC tournament, and how you play from here until June 26th, whenever that last day is. If you're fortunate to make it to Omaha and play the national championship, is the most important thing.
Go ahead, Ora. Do you like the way the schedule plays out, where you get a day between games, and again, if you make the semifinals?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it helps you. helps you balance your pitching staff a little bit more, helps guys recover. You know, last year we had finished with the home stretch. Well, this year we had to go on the road and play those 4 games. So it does help us to have that day, and it helps us that we're not hopping back on a bus and going to a hotel. I could tell that our guys had good energy yesterday in the weight room, and you know, I thought they looked good. So,
Does some football teams stay in a hotel in this situation? But everybody's staying at their own place.
but yeah, not UNC baseball. We don't have that budget, even if we wanted to.
Was it a hard decision? Did you think hard about maybe saving Carlson for UVA?
No, because if you look at it, he had the most rest. And
Right, because he pitched Thursday.
yep,
right?
he pitched Thursday, and he pitched Tuesday last year in the ACC tournament. And Nat pitched really good against Virginia on that last game. We ended up shutting them out, I believe, 6-0 in Game 3.
Right.
And Nat's throwing really well too. So we just felt like that was best for us.
Anybody else?
We good?
Thanks.
That's all.
Thank you.